back to the channel. I'm making some videos to help people who are thinking about playing ESO or maybe new to ESO to understand what to expect. This video is on the user interface since you can't play the game without having to deal with it. So, starting at the login page, once you log in, you're going to be brought to where you can choose a character that you've already made. Now, I've been playing for a while. You're going to see um, that, for example, this account is over 1,000 champion points, so you have to keep that in mind. I'll be doing a separate video on character creation and doing the new character tutorial. So I'm not going to go too deeply into um, things like builds and things like race and class and weapons. I'm going to save those for separate videos. It's way too much. There are a lot of settings in the UI. These you can come back to. You can actually set the music that's playing, and the background that you see is it actually changes every time they release a new chapter. Since Gold Road is the most recent, that's why everything is kind of autumn flavored here. So it shows your character that you can pick, the active mount it currently has, and you can set that in game. It shows the non-combat pet it actively has, or that's set in game. But all of that's not going to matter too much. You can even take a look at them, and uh, if you stay on this page too long, they'll start to make different facial expressions and things like that. So I'm going to pick her, and we're going to go into the game. So the whole interface has a lot of settings. And by the way, I'm going to focus on base game areas since not everyone has the DLC areas. I will show some of those later, but again, this whole series will focus on base game. So you always get like a login notification. There is an event going on in one of the zones right now. Um, it's giving me a daily reward. It's actually giving me a DLC dungeon, which is a pretty good reward. And you do get a lot of free stuff, a lot of good things with just by logging in to ESO. So I'm going to get out of that, get rid of the notification, um, and we'll start talking about the UI. All right, so I'm going to hit my inventory key, and keep in mind I am on keyboard and mouse, and you will have to. ESO has really good gamepad support, so you'll have to turn that on, and I'll show you where to turn that on. Aside from that, everything else is the ideas and the principles are still the same. Your appearance and the UI may look different, but all the content is still there. So I'm just going to hit my inventory key to get into the interface. Um, there are a lot of ways to open this up, but that's just my quick way of doing it. So in my inventory, which I'm on this tab right here. Now notice the text in the top right where it says inventory, then it has an I key. These are all, if you look at all these icons, like the crates is F3, those are the keys that I currently have bound to open those up. So you can either go in through a key or you can just do the quick way. Like I said, uh, hitting inventory will open this up. Then you can click on any tab. It'll show you uh, the page. So inventory is pretty basic. I think where we should start is the two layers of UI. So I hit the escape key to bring this up. So this brings the global settings that are for the account. So there's a lot of information in here, and I'm going to cover some key stuff. You'll have to go through and customize it the way that you want. And you'll notice right away when you create a new character, there's some things that you may want to turn off. Notice that I have a pretty clean appearance. There are some things on the bottom here. Those you can turn on and turn off. You know, we have a player coming to say hello while I'm making this escape key to get to the menu. Video. These are all the video settings. I don't run my stuff real hot, so I like to keep, you'll notice I have a lot of these turned down. So the game actually looks a lot better than what you're going to see just because I have a lot of this turned down. Same with audio. You can customize audio. I have it turned down to make these videos. Um, Turning on no combat music actually lets the combat music play during the key times. Like if you're doing like a key event like a Hera Storm or like a Dolmen, but it takes away that irritating like if you aggro like a wolf or something. That makes it much more immersive if you just turn that off. Under gameplay, there's some settings under here to be aware of. But then again, look at all these details. You can even customize how you want your mount to look with regard to upgrades. You can set the colors. If you click on that, you can set the colors for friendlies and enemies. You can even uh, set the latency between taps for dodge rolling in here down to milliseconds. I wish FromSoft would do that. Um, this setting right here, prevent attacking innocents. All right, when you create a new character, that is set to off. And that's something important to know because there's a justice system in the game. And the first time I got a bounty by, you know, riding over a chicken on my mount, I turned that on because it also puts these white lines around all the NPCs, meaning that you can attack them, which makes the game look worse in my opinion. So I put that on. If you want to do some crime, you can actually turn that back off. It's no issue. Um, but I would recommend highly to turn that on, and that's under settings, then gameplay, prevent attacking innocents. Camera, here's where you can customize your view, rotation speed. I may have to turn that down as we make more videos. I tend to be real quick with the mouse, so that's like mouse rotation, um, and it gets kind of choppy. So I may end up turning that down, but you can really customize how you want your camera to work, including head things like screen shake and head bob. The interface, this has a couple things that I think are really important starting out. So display name, this pertains to the box in the bottom left. You see how people are talking here. Anytime you see an at, that means it's their account name. Um, the other option is character name. Keep in mind that players can have up to 10 characters, so if they switch a character, you no longer know who you're talking to if you have the preferred character name. But if you have preferred user ID, you know who you're talking to because it's still the same account. So that would be well worth keeping in mind. Chat bubbles, these actually appear. Notice there's nothing appearing over my character's head. So you can put the chat bubbles over uh, your head. You can actually, it's a text that appears when you type in the chat box over your head. So if you were in a group and you needed some help or needed somebody to like resurrect you to get you off the ground, you can type in there help, you know, and that's useful for certain times, not overall though, which is why I keep it turned off. Performance, you can actually show on the bottom left your frame rate, your latency, which is basically your ping. Notice I'm showing it down here. Anything that's around 100 or below, as long as the text is white, you're in good shape. If it turns red, then the ping is getting a little bit wonky, and that could either be your connection or they could be having a server issue. Um, so you can just watch that. Nameplates. This is a lot. When you first start a character, you'll want to turn a lot of these off, turn a lot of them to never. Let me show you why. Every character, and whether it's friendly or an enemy in the game, can show a nameplate. Again, nothing over her head. But if I turn on nameplates, let me turn it on just for that my character. Um, See it over her head. There's the account name and then a title she's earned. Um, that will stay there. And same thing with health bars, which is also under the. Let me change that. Oh, all right, let's go to health bars. Notice it's showing her health bar too. So there's a lot of things you can turn on that will appear over your character or other characters' heads. And honestly, that becomes for me, for a player like me, that becomes too much information, and it kind of breaks the immersion. I keep it off. You can customize it however you want. I'm going to put mine back to never here. Um, whoop, and health bars, just putting it back to where it was. Because, like I said, imagine you saw all that information over everything's head. To me, I just don't like it. But if you want to do that, that's fine. So under nameplates is social. This pertains to the chat box down here. See, there's different colors. You can actually make the text size bigger or smaller, tweak the transparency. These are basically all the commands, which we'll get into as we go along. You can even uh, use the zone chat box to shift to guild chat, like if you're a guild member, which you can become a guild member with just the base game. You don't need the subscription to do 99% of the things in ESO. So you can shift to guild channels. You can be a member of up to 5 player guilds. So that'll just show. You can even change those colors for the text. Under combat, uh, one of the things that you have to decide is what you want to show. So down here, these are the attributes: magicka, health, stamina. These are the skills currently equipped, and you get 2 bars. You get the first one when you start the game. You get a second bar. Notice those are different at level 15. So you can actually equip on both bars 5 skills, 1 ultimate skill. And you'll have to decide inside of the combat section whether you want to show your ability bars, which I have mine always showing, your attribute bars, I have mine always showing. Again, that's just my preference. I like the detail of number and percent. And as we go, you'll see numbers for outgoing damage, incoming damage. I prefer to show the buffs that I have, and notice the 2 square boxes above the red bar. Those are the buffs. Accessibility has some stuff in it, but you won't use it too much. And add-ons, we're going to do an entire video on. ESO is very add-on friendly if you're on computer, not console. So I'm on the PC Mac North American server. Therefore, I get to use the luxury of add-ons, which they're so good. Controls, here's where you can do all. You can set up your key bindings, customize them in any way you want. ESO even works in the add-ons in a few sections. So you'll notice that settings has add-ons, controls has add-ons. Combat metrics is an add-on I use, and I can bring that up just with a key that I bound. Um, and you can do that with a lot of add-ons. You can just bind it quickly to a key to take a look. Um, and then there's in fact there's gamepad right there. And in the settings through here, I think it might be under gameplay. Um, there's a gamepad mode right there. So you can turn on gamepad mode if you want to use a gamepad. It's good. I hear it's really good support because I'm on keyboard and mouse. Entire add-ons page. Again, we're going to get into that. Logout takes you back to the character page that I showed you. That way you can switch characters. You don't have to quit and restart the game. and then code, of course, is a total exit. Okay, back to the inventory and the UI here. There's a ton of information, which I'm going to hit just the highlights. But the nice thing is you can't mess anything up. You can't make a mistake. You can just come back to the inventory page and start it all over again. And again, you can pick these icons. These are all different pages that you can look at. Um, Crown Store. Here's where you can buy things if you want. They do give away a lot of free things here. Noteworthy is this events tab. If you have an event going on, then um, the invitation to the starter quest usually appears in here, and that's one of the ways to get it. Crown crates, if you do get a crown crate, you come to this guy, and that's the only way to open it up. That's all he does. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on him. Inventory, that's what we're in. Character, um, a lot of things are described by character in the UI, the current character that you're on, but some of the things are account wide, which uh, I'll point them out as we go along. So this is her stats. There is a quick page right here, um, but the character stats is her current the current buff she has going on, her current attributes. You know, there's attack power, spell penetration. Here's where you can pick a title, and you earn those as you go through the game. And then outfits, we're going to go into an entire video on essentially fashion. Skills, these are the ones that she currently has, and these skills will be determined a lot by the race that you pick when you create the character and the class that you pick when you create the character. But again, we're going to do a whole combat video. We'll talk about skills. Um, the champion point system, as you get over level 50, you wind up with the champion points. This is kind of similar if you played Skyrim to the constellations, and you can go in and you can do refinements of your skills with the champion points that you earn. But again, I'm planning on doing a whole combat video, and I'll come back to that. The quest journal, you're going to use this a lot. So whenever you pick up a quest, um, it'll wind up in this journal and it keeps track of them. So notice you can have a maximum of 25. She currently has 8 going on. And you can toggle through and pick a quest that'll make it the most recent or active. Notice on the bottom where it says show on map, if you pick the quest and hit the right key, it'll show you the zone. Like this quest is in the Western Skyrim zone. If you look at the top left, then it shows you the locations that you can go to finish that quest. So very convenient. Collections, this has a lot in it. Um, right, so starting on the top right, Tales of Tribute is a card game that appeared in the High Isle chapter. So I'm not going to go into it. I actually don't play it, um, but that's what it means. Set items, this is if you want to reconstruct sets that you've gotten in the past. And there's a whole thing with that, but again, that's what the tab means. They call that the sticker book. You collect these once you decon something or sell to an NPC, and then you can reconstruct it later with transmute crystals if you wanted to. Outfit styles, this is the fashion thing, and it can be fun. New players might find this kind of fun to see what your character could appear like. So the ones that are filled in are ones that you currently own, and these are account wide, so any character can do this. Um, you get these through motifs or style pages. So these are the ones that this account currently has. But if they're shaded out, those are the ones that you haven't yet collected, but you can still do a preview of them. So you can see like all the fashions that are in the game. So you might this will let you know like if you're trying to get a certain style, which motif you want to go after. And believe me, fashion is a big thing in ESO. The same with the next tab, which is housing. It'll show you all of the houses that are in the game, the ones that you've collected, the ones that you've purchased actually, and not. So a lot of these can be purchased with gold in game. If you want to, you can get them through the Crown Store, of course. Some of them require an achievement, like a zone achievement, to buy it. Others don't, but there are a lot of houses. And notice you can travel to both inside and outside the house. And a lot of players use that for like quick travel. Like if they own a house in a certain zone and they want to get there, especially in a new character, they'll just travel to that house and then they're in that zone. Stories, I don't do too much with this. It's basically uh, ch- the starter quest for different zones and the DLCs, in other words, things that you could get. But collectibles is a lot. There's a lot in here that you're going to use. Appearance, you will be amazed at how many free things that you get through daily logins, events, things like that. So you'll get things like costumes, and the way they work is these are cosmetic. So her armor stats and values, those would remain the same, but she can put on a costume, and it just goes over the armor. It doesn't change anything as far as like her defense and attack. So these are just cosmetic, but again, you're going to wind up with a lot of them just because of the sheer amount they give away. And so there's different categories. Like festivals. This hat's from the Witches Festival, and you get that free if you just collect certain items and do certain things during the event. Same with furnishings. Um, you can get them in game, or some come from like quests. Like these came from some quests. Fragments, I believe, are related to that card game that I don't really think too much about. Allies are companions are in the game. You need certain zones to get them, but yeah, that's where they would show up. Mementos come from Quest, and some of them are uh, kind of fun and kind of useful. These are things that you can just use. Now, here, watch. That one is for some fire breathing, and it goes on for a certain amount. Some of them are actually useful, like this one works as a lantern. There's also an actual lantern, and that can help you out if you're in like a dark place. Tools, usually event related. That one is related to scrying. Mounts, you're going to use this section probably a lot. These are all the mounts the account has, and you can actually pick and set. You can change them just like you do the outfits. So she's got her mount already set. So that's the page that you would pick if you want to change a mount, or you can pick a random mount or set some favorite mounts. Non-combat pets, you're going to wind up with a lot of these because they give them away for free a lot. And see my little rabbit in the background, he's one of them. He's domestic, and there he is right there. I have him set as active. And a lot of different small things in the game, like emotes. That's an emote. It's just an action your character does. All right, and some of these, the map, what you're going to find out is that you bring it up with the M key or whatever key you set, but um, once you bring it up, every zone has a zone guide, and then you can actually look at all the locations in the game. If you look at Tamriel, that's the name of the world in ESO, it shows all of the zones, all those white shrines or ones or shrines I have unlocked, and it shows the current areas and future areas, which is pretty interesting. And you get to see what they, I guess, have planned or where they could add new zones in the entire game. But you can travel to any zone. If you see a white shrine, you can travel to there right away. Um, if you see a black shrine, you haven't unlocked that yet. You just have to visit it one time and then it unlocks the shrine. A group, we're going to get deeper into this page, but this is where, like, if you're grouping with other people, if you want to find a group, battlegrounds is PvP teams. So there's a lot of different things in this page, but for a beginner, I wouldn't worry too much about it. There's your friends. Some of these I'm not going to cover because they are self-explanatory. Friends list. Uh, any friends you make in game will show up there. Although if you're in a guild, and again, you can join them at any time, you won't see it on friends. It'll be on a different page. To find guilds, you can browse guilds, and then you could apply to the guilds right from that page. Alliance War, this is the big PvP war that happens in Cyrodiil, which I'll do a video on, show you how to get there, show you some other things. That is mail. You just have player email, and you also get automated emails if you have like a crafting assistant. Notifications, I canceled one when I logged in. It gave me a notification that I got a new zone, which you can just delete those. And then a big help section, tutorials for everything in the game. And then it also has a tab for customer support. It also, even a character stuck, if you get stuck, like if your character gets stuck between a couple rocks and you can't get out, you can come to this tab or type /stuck in the chat box and it will get you unstuck. It'll charge you a little bit of gold, but that's it. So, but no, if you need to open a ticket, this is the section to do it. So there are a lot of tabs going on in the UI. Um, Back to inventory, pretty basic sorting. You can sort by weapons or jewelry. It'll show you the furnishings you're carrying, any quest-related items, companion items. Actually, there's quest items right there. Um, you can set quick slots. Like I have some potions quick slotted, and those will show up down here. That's from a quick slot. And then when you're in your inventory page, you can change those. And when you're actually in game, you can pick them. If you hold the key you have found, you can pick them. Pick which one you want to use. And then some other tabs, the second tab. The craft bag is for ESO Plus subscription members. If you do the trial, you'll have some items that wind up in that section. Like I did the trial on this account. But other than that, you can take it out, but you can't put it in if you don't have the subscription. Items is the backpack that you currently have. Inventory, that's what they call essentially your backpack. And you can upgrade those. Again, I'll do a video on storage and things and how to upgrade uh, your your backpack and your bank. And then currency. Some of these are account wide. So Lions points are account wide. Gold is for this character, but crowns is account wide. Most of these are actually account wide, but there are several different types of currencies. Undaunted keys, we'll get into that later. Seals of Endeavor, that type of thing. Event tickets. So it's got a lot of detail between this section, the tabs across the top, and the global section over here. And what you'll have to do is essentially take the time and go through um, and customize the way you want. If any setting, if you're new, that I would worry about, it's the prevent attacking innocence one that I mentioned under gameplay. That turned on. There's an NPC, the stable master here. Now, she would normally have white lines around her because you can attack her, but watch what happens when I try to attack her. Watch the text in the top right. It's not even letting me hit her now. maybe we should there. All right, see the text in the top right? You can't attack this target because of the prevent attacking innocents option. That prevents you from getting an accidental bounty if you don't know basically the rules of who you can attack and can't attack. Um, that would be the only one I would be concerned about when you first start, because again, you can turn that off later if you want to do some crime. Uh, I'm hoping uh, I'm hoping this video of the UI is helpful. If you're new to the game, I'm glad you're deciding to play ESO. If you're considering playing ESO, it is a really nice game. It's pretty chill. Uh, and you can play it basically whatever you want. You can play it for endgame content, or you can just run around and do basically nothing. So, um, thank you for watching.